Hello, it is, or was, I should say, Tuesday, November 1st. This is month 5, day number 6, I do believe. And man, what a day. Nah, but seriously, it was a good day. I'm pretty tired. It's technically the 2nd now. It's Wednesday, and it's about 3:15 in the morning. I just got back from lab. It went really well. Like, I had a blast today. I woke up, I was like, today's going to be a good day because I woke up awesome. I got to class on time as usual. And we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about dynamic processors and equal EQs, basically. And I got the PowerPoint slides open right here next to me on my second screen. And so we discussed the topics of today in lecture. We talked about dynamic range, compressors, gates, parameters, limiting, side chains, key input, de-esser, triggering, and patching. And that was just the first half of lecture, which actually kind of carried into the second again because this was like really the main focus. And we looked at graphs and stuff. Like we checked out like the compression ratios, like what those actually look like. Like you have your 1-to-1, which is like no compression, and then your 2-to-1, 4-to-1, 8-to-1. And once you start to get up into the higher, like 8-to-1, 10-to-1, like up there, then it starts to become like a limiter, basically. But no, we checked out the graphs of all that stuff and to like see exactly like mathematically what it looks like. And then there's this one thing called like a brick wall compression, and it's basically like you usually have like say a 2-to-1 so for every 2 decibels 1 decibel comes out. Well, there's this one that is infinite to 1, so the threshold doesn't let anything past it. It's crazy. And we also looked at like actual waveforms of like what a bass waveform looks like, uncompressed and then compressed. And it's just pretty cool. It's a drastic change. And we also checked out an uncompressed and compressed guitar waveform as well, which is pretty cool. We checked out gating and how like the gate signal flow works, and basically there's like a detector circuit that goes around and goes into the VCA, and then that goes to the output. Checked out all the gate parameters: threshold, attack time, hold, release time, and range. We discussed the gate signal flow, which is also known as keying. We talked about a compressor, which is also known as sidechain, and the signal flow for that, which brought us back around to the basic signal flow, which I've actually got the basic signal flow, like the image for it, as my desktop background. Like that's how how much I'm trying to get this. Which I really, tonight after I get done making this video, I gotta not start studying, but I gotta finish up studying for the microphone midterm tomorrow, so I'm gonna review all the stuff from that and everything. We'll get to that. So basically, as a summary, again, dynamic range, compressor parameters, gate parameters, detector circuits, VCAs, key input, key listen, sidechain, whole bunch of stuff we covered in lecture. I mean, it was awesome. Like, I was really engaged today. It was just straight rolling, It was awesome. And then we also talked about the EQs today. So equalization, obviously. We talked about filters, using the equalizers, like the certain mixing techniques, which was pretty cool because we actually discussed like not only how to what the hardware does, but how to use it today, and that was really nice. And then also mentioned was the spatial placement and monitoring. And we checked out like a frequency response plot, and you want to try to get everything nice and even. We checked out, so we talked about how to tune your room. Basically, like a lot of studios have weird angled walls and stuff because like rectangular or square rooms, they are not good for mixing or for acoustics because the sound waves just get built up. It's bad. Yeah, we checked out some RTAs today, which are real-time analyzers. We also looked at measurement microphones to tune your room and get everything set. And we looked at graphic EQs today. So basically, an octave EQ has 10 bands. A two-thirds octave EQ has 15, and then a one-third octave EQ has 31 bands. And we looked at what a graphic EQ likes, which is graphic EQs are your most typical ones, like you'd find it in your car or whatever. Those are the ones most of us, even though we don't know it, that's what they're called. And we also looked at shelving EQ and like what those look like in a graph form, of course. And then parametric EQ. We checked out semi-parametric EQ, which only has 4 bands. Amplitude, its parameters are amplitude, frequency, and Q. We checked out the filter types, high pass, low pass, and then band pass filters. And you also have a notch filter, which is like a really narrow. It'll cancel out one single frequency. So basically, what it came down to was again frequency response plot. We checked it out in the beginning. The RTAs, your EQs, which you have your graphic, your shelf, your peak/dip, and then your parametric EQs. And we also discussed the filters, of course, and then mixing, which we talked about the balance and the relative levels, your blending, your spatial placement, which is like making it, your stereo sound, and how it goes beyond just your left and right. You also have your front and back sound and your height sound. So like typically, your higher frequency sounds are going to sound higher than the lower ones. So there's just so much that goes into it. And even with the monitor speakers, you have like in a studio, you're going to have usually three different sets of monitors, which you have your near fields, which are the most typically used, your mains, and then your minis. And they always say the mains they're the most impressive for guests and clients. So if you have someone coming into your studio, you play your music through your mains. But gosh, we covered so much stuff today, and I'm just like naming stuff off right now, and I've been talking for like 7 minutes. This is crazy. But gosh, today was just great. And so lecture was awesome. We took a break, and I went down to Target, and bananas are like 24 cents each. So I just grabbed myself a bunch of bananas and had like 8 bananas for lunch, and it was awesome. Like every time I do that, and I've been doing that like every day pretty much, I'm just like, oh man, I'm so full. But like it's a fruit, and the sugar keeps me going, so it's awesome. So bananas for lunch, like for the win, you know what I'm saying? Then I came home. And it was a beautiful 72 degrees out today, so I opened up all the windows and the screen door, and I cleaned up and let the fresh air come in, and I practiced. I wanted to take a nap once it got dark, but I ended up playing drums. I'll be honest, I ended up practicing. But I'm not beating myself up for it, because, I gotta practice. Let's see. So, and gosh, sorry, I'm excited right now. So lab was supposed to be from 1 to 5, but we usually get out a bit early because it usually doesn't take too long to meet the objectives for the night. And I wanted to get footage of what I'd done, but I realized I forgot my camera. So, it's cool though. Because I feel like I really know what I'm doing on those big mixing boards now, and I kind of do. Obviously, I think the practical is in about a week and a half, and I think I'll be just fine. It's after the 6th lab, but tonight we were checking out the time-based processors. So yeah, your time-based outboard gear, and which that's basically your reverb, your delay, echo, etc. So I picked out whatever song, and it was like some hip-hop rap song, and God, I freaking A. Once I got into the swing of things, basically my approach to the labs is like, I check out the objectives, and I that's my sole focus at first, is just to check out what's in the lab pack for that particular night, and I only do that at first. I don't screw with any of the EQs, I don't do any level balancing or anything. I just pick one track and run it through Wow, I'm running out of words. I pick one track and then I run it to the outboard gear, which was the time-based processors tonight. check out what they do, how to patch it all in, how to make it work. And then once I've met the objectives, then I'll go back, I'll start messing with the EQs, figuring out what tracks are what, and then I'll start messing with the levels for each track, and then I'll run it through a processor or whatever if I feel like it. And tonight was complicated because well, it wasn't really complicated. It seemed like it at first, but basically we had to use all the auxiliary sends and then the auxiliary inputs, or the aux returns, tonight to get everything to the time-based processors. And so we had to route, let's see, so basically we had to route whatever track to the aux master, and then from the aux master we turn that up, and then you had to patch it into your whatever processing unit you wanted, and then you would do the output of that back into the return. And you could there's 3 places that you can have the return. You could have the return into the stereo channel, which only gives you volume control. You could go to the channel input, or you could go to the line, channel line input, or the mix, what's it called, the tape input, the tape monitoring input, which is basically, so you either have your stereo return, which is just a knob for volume on the effects processor, or you could run it to the small fader, which is your channel line input, and that gives you your left and right level controls as well as panning. And then if you return it to the tape monitor input, that's your long fader. As long as you have an open long fader, you'll be good to go. So I mean, not only do you have your left and right level faders, but you also have panning and EQ on the overall effect. So you just don't want to return it from the long fader. You don't want to send that the effects that you already have back through into the aux master, because then you get this crazy feedback loop, and it wasn't good. So I made sure to not do that. They warned us about that. But I mean, there was a lot going on, and basically I had this track, and I ran that thing through some effects. I mean, it was nothing but effects. I mean, it was I ended up being the last one there again somehow, and I didn't even realize it. I'm sitting there and I'm playing, I'm doing awesome stuff, and then I look around, I'm I'm the only one in there, and I'm what the, when did everybody leave? Because I was having a blast tonight. Holy cow, it was fun. I really hope I get a dream job getting to do this stuff, because it is fun. Tonight was probably the most fun I've had in lab, just because there was so much that I could do. It was so open-ended, And I ran a whole bunch of crap through the reverb thing, and I had a little touch of reverb on just almost everything. I had the bass guitar going through the compressor, I had the snare running through the gate. I had stuff EQ'd really nicely. I had the rapper's voice, I gave it a megaphone effect by taking out all the bass and low mids, and I boosted the high mids and a little bit of the actual highs, and it worked out really well, especially through the reverb. It sounded really cool. I made the track just sound not how you would want it on a CD or anything, but I just made it sound cool, just to run it through all the effect outboard gear. And gosh, I had so many TT cables running. That patch board was filled up with stuff. I mean, it was crazy. And so I had the lab tech come over, and I was like, hey, check it out. And he was like, well, listen to it, and he was like, well, I wouldn't use that many effects for a song like this, but you definitely know how to use the outboard gear. And I was like, oh yeah, I was just checking it out, and I'm having fun, I'm having a blast. I don't really care at this point, because that's not what I'm getting graded on. And with using all the gear like that, I'm going back, and each night I'm stacking it on. So I'm probably going to be there later every night, making sure that I know how to do each goal for each lab. That way when it comes time for the practical, I'm on point, ready to go, no problem. So basically, labs for the recording consoles class, on point, I gotta say, as long as you make it that way, because everyone else is leaving early, and I'm in there, I'm wanting to stay till 5, but basically it's it came down to well, I know the stuff, I gotta study for the midterm tomorrow for microphones, so I decided to leave. But no, I wanted to stay in there till 5. Probably should have, but I really wanted to make sure I got some more study time and sleep time, because that's important too. Because I really know the stuff in recording consoles pretty well. I've got the basic signal flow down. On Saturday, we took that test, quiz thing. I made 100 on it, so I'm feeling pretty confident in recording consoles. Microphones, in theory, not so much. I gotta study. But no, today was a great day to be in recording consoles because I had an absolute blast tonight in lab, and there was nothing I would have rather done tonight than sit in that room and just move knobs. The worst part about it is zeroing out, because especially for me tonight, because I had moved so many knobs, I had everything down in such detail, or so I thought. I'm still a noob, but I was using 4 different outboard outboard effect modules, and I had EQ'd just about every channel as well as I could have. And so zeroing out tonight was a pain, but it was still fun. You know what I mean? It was still fun. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, sticking with me. I don't know what number video this is, but that's okay. I'll find out when I upload it. It was just a great day. If you're looking forward to coming to this school, I would say month number 4 technically is definitely the month that it gets good. So the first couple classes kind of lame, but you get to meet people. But then it's worth it when you get to these classes. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hearing me rant. Well, not really rant, but I guess not really brag either. But thanks for letting me share my experiences with you. I'll put it that way. That's a good way to put it. That's what it is. But yeah, I hope you got a good idea about what today's class was, because it was jamming. You know what I'm saying? It was good. So anyway, I will catch you tomorrow after everything gets done and said with microphones. Hopefully the test goes well. Wish me luck. I'm going to study hard for probably the next hour and a half. Get to bed by 5. Should be good. So at that rate, I will see you tomorrow.